Hello, everybody. It's Sunday, the 14th, the day after the assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. He was just got on stage to do a rally, and all of a sudden, shots fired. And luckily, he happened to turn his head at the last moment, and the bullet went right through his ear and out again through the outside part of his ear. Otherwise, it definitely was a headshot. And the shooter's down, a 20-year-old male, uh, local, and he was on a building about 200 yards away, on top of the building, and shot with a high-powered rifle and a scope. The whole thing has really got everybody up in arms. The Republican convention is this coming week. So it's just a sad turn of events in what we have become, I don't think used to, but not abnormal events that are taking place in our society. We need to be tuned in and just believe that or understand and try and correct what's going on in our world. I realize that I'm a little early, but I just felt as though, if anybody wanted to talk about it, or anybody had some input they wanted to put in there, the news, Fox News has been running continuously with eyewitnesses and different people and accounts of what's going on. One of the comments that I noticed was several of the witnesses were asked if they saw any drones in the air, and their answer was no. I'm sure that they had a no-fly zone going, but you would think that law enforcement, Secret Service would have, or FAA would have some drones in the air surveilling. And why, my biggest question is, why, when it was reported by several witnesses, they saw somebody with a gun scaling up the outside of a building to get to the roof, and nobody did anything? Just doesn't make sense. An inch or two one way or the other at that distance with the rifle, and had he not turned his head to address the crowd, would have been a headshot, and we'd be talking a different story today. And the fact that this particular administration tried to eliminate his Secret Service detail. And it's just so many questions going on, and I'm sure that there's going to be all kinds of investigations and whatever, but the whole world has kind of gone off the edge, gone a little bit wacky. Just to recap the events yesterday at about 6:02 Eastern time, Donald Trump took the stage in in Butler, Pennsylvania. Um, and a very hot, and people have been there in the crowd 7, 8, 9 hours waiting for this event. His supporters, thousands of people, and the Secret Service on the ground where he was, sprang to action very quickly and did a great job. It's just that whoever was in charge of the security event for the federal government failed in their preliminary setup. So we don't have anybody here and nobody's watching. One point I would make is, why were there no drones in the air doing surveillance? Doesn't make any sense. Drones are so prevalent in our society today, that handheld drones could have been there and would have spotted this guy climbing up a building with about 200 yards away with a rifle strapped to his back and going onto the roof. And then once he got to the roof, they could have surveilled him. They're now searching the house, the home where the would-be killer is living in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Thomas Matthew Crooks is his name, 20-year-old. And at my age and stage of life, 20-year-old is just beyond me. Because it was, 50 years ago that Kennedy was shot? And we've had a couple of attempts on people. In the meantime, I'm still amazed at the fact there were no drones in the air. It has been confirmed that there were no drones in the air doing surveillance. And I kind of understand that, having been a drone pilot, is that TFRs and all those kinds of things probably were instituted to not allow drone flight in the area. But you would think that in this day and age, either the Secret Service or ATF or somebody would have at least had some surveillance drones in the area, and they didn't. So I'm kind of don't understand that. Yes, Lance, with everything that took place yesterday, I decided to come on, and maybe there were some people that'd like to talk about this. It really is a blemish on politics and a black mark on our society that this type of thing can happen. Because I can't believe that with social media and everything going on, that somebody didn't know that he was going to attempt to do this. And it just shows how twisted our society has gotten. And I'm not blaming, like the gamers that go out and play the shoot 'em up games on online, that this is kind of dumbed down their senses as far as what should be done and shouldn't be done. Because I'm a firm believer everybody's got to do what they got to do, and whatever makes them happy makes them happy. As long as it isn't a trigger for those people that maybe have some psychological or mental issues to act out. Mr. Skyfly, how are you? Yeah, I don't know how long we're going to be on here, but I just thought, I would come on and see if there weren't some people that wanted to talk about the cases, the things that are. So yeah, Skyfly, he was just a kid and 20 years old, and several of the participants that were on the ground there notified police that he had a gun and was climbing up the side of that building, outside the building, which is a plastic and glass manufacturing plant that was about 200 yards, 250 yards away from where the stage was. And it was right to the Donald Trump was talking to the group. It would have been off to his right over here. And so when he turned to talk to the crowd, all of a sudden the bullet went past his ear. Had it been over about an inch or two, he wouldn't be here. Yeah, Lance, I remember RFK. Welcome everybody. Like I say, I just decided to come on and see if there's anybody else that has been kind of watching how this is unfolding. Donald Trump, of course, is all right. He went to the hospital last night, and he's back. He's back at home now. He will be traveling the next day or so to Minnesota for the National Republican Convention. And it's been reported that the Trump team had requested additional security, and which it was denied. And it wasn't that long ago that the Secret Service and ATF recommended that they remove him having security. So yes, Shri, that was very much, it's Shuri. I don't know if it's Suri or Shuri, but yes. It's going to be an iconic photo shoot. All of the photos on the ground that were taken at that moment. I've got over here on my TV over here and TV in the other room. I have Fox News on because they've been recording this continuously. Three, okay. Because I didn't know whether it was Cherie or Sherry or what, but Cherie. The all the guests on Fox News are ex-agents, ex-security people, political people, and they're everybody pretty much is astounded that he was able to climb that building with a long rifle strapped to his back that had a scope on it. And but as most of you know, that the shooter is dead, and they're doing a thorough investigation now into what happened. Right now, law enforcement agents, federal, local, are at the residence, his residence. Probably doing a search there to see if there's any connection to anything or any information that is part of the investigation. They just showed a picture now through one of the Secret Service's legs from a camera. There's a camera shot of Donald Trump down with blood running down the side of his face. Yes, that's the sad part. There was additional people, 4 people besides Trump. Donald Trump was shot in the ear. Another gentleman was shot in the stands just behind him to his right. And 2 more people, I think, were shot in the stands, who were treated at hospital and are in serious condition. So total of 4 people were shot, and the fifth person was killed was the shooter. Yeah, the initial reports were the people in the stands were trying to revive the individual that was shot, and they were doing CPR and other things. And one of the people that saw him right afterwards says, "Oh man, he's dead. He's not coming out of that." And he had a family. He was there with his family. So and they just played a clip from somebody's camera, and he's telling the officers on scene just after the shots, you could hear the shots go off, and this person was saying, "He's on the roof, he's on the roof, he's on the roof." So I mean, we're talking about like close up. Yeah, exactly, Mr. Skyfly. That we're living in different times. That people have rights to have guns, but responsibly have guns. And if you have any kind of a mental illness or breakdown, those guns should be confiscated or returned to the manufacturer. Well, and somebody said that all of these games that they play on online, I'm not a gamer, but they're all shoot 'em up, bang bang, killing each other type of thing, and that they ever somebody wonders if that doesn't affect the younger people to dismiss, how did they put it, dismiss the consequence of those kinds of actions. I don't know. I don't know. The The oh, okay, Cherie, you met me in Port Huron. Well, you got to remember, I'm 72, 73 years old, and there's nothing worse than getting old is when you run into people that you know, but you don't know how you know, but they seem to know you, and yeah, the memory becomes a little fuzzy. Hey, Sheree, yeah, I just made you a moderator, turned your blue, so you're always welcome here. We're on twice a day, once at usually 9 a.m. And today it was earlier because of special events. And then at 5 p.m. we come on. And it's usually a channel where we just talk about the day's events and drones and those kinds of things. But today, obviously, we're talking about last evening's events in Pennsylvania. You're always welcome, Sheree, to join us anytime. I appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, Fox News has been covering it pretty good ever since it occurred. They just showed the Chicago Tribune headlines is shots fired at Trump. It didn't it should have said Trump shot at event because he was. If he hadn't turned his head when he did, that bullet went through this outer part of his ear and down the side of his head and caused him to bleed like this. It the guy was going for a headshot. 1 inch or whatever would have been lights out. So I can't imagine what how anybody have any thoughts on how we change society because we are all part of society and is there a way for us to change society to get back to some semblance of order and security? I don't know. I do not know. Okay, I'm gonna throw some peanuts out to my little buddies out here. I'll be right back. Yeah, those are my little buddies. Yep, he's tough. There's no doubt about that. You know, a lot of people that have known him for years, say the same thing. He's a kind-hearted, loving individual who respects this country and wants nothing but the best for everybody. Yes, Russell, we are early because of the events of the day. We started, I started live streaming about 37 minutes ago. And I've had as many as 9 or 10 people watching, and now we're down to, it looks like 5. But the end result is that Donald Trump was shot, and it has survived only by the grace of God that it was just a little bit different. Otherwise, it had been a headshot. And I've been watching Fox News throughout the day, and all night long. Yes, it is. It is very sad, people. Yeah, Waypoint. It is. It's a tough day for just about everybody. Anybody that cares about our society and about life in general. Anytime an event like this happens, it's just tragic. The JD, how's it going? Yeah, JD just put something in there for everybody, maybe will find it interesting. Um, the thing of it is that, well, mostly I would believe is whether you disagree or not, is you have to have a conversation and explore everybody's thoughts. Because otherwise, we end up with chaos. I would hope that out of this tragic event that happened last evening at 6 p.m., 6:02, I think, p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, that we would be able to take the focus off of the reality of what happened, and maybe turn it into a conversation of what can each one of us do in our daily lives to change the trajectory of our society, because we all represent our society, each one of us. And I personally believe, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but as a member of society, what our thoughts are important, or how we relate to things. I know most people probably had their TV on all night long, catching bits and pieces of what's been going on. The There's just so many questions, I'm sure, and who knows if they'll get answered correctly or not. At least to my satisfaction. I'm sure that there's an answer, I give a lot of credit to those men and women agents on the ground at the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, um, who shielded the president, and put him themselves between him and the shooter when they don't know who was shooting and what direction it was coming from. But I know that I am live early. Simply because of the special events, the things that happened. And I thought that maybe some people might like to join and share their thoughts and their views on the events that took place yesterday and the events in general. Yes, he was a 20-year-old male, um, lived in Pennsylvania. The police right now are at his place of residence, and they're tearing the place apart, looking at computers, looking at any kind of notes or things, or see if they can find anything. So any future press conferences, press releases will be interesting as the investigation continues. Yes, it will. I agree. Today or yesterday's events will go down in history. Just like the Kennedy assassination and the Republican different events throughout time. You know, it's like when Ronald Reagan was shot outside. That video that is going into the chronicles of life in the U.S. and the Kennedy assassination. Those photos and pictures. Yeah, very sad. Very sad historical event that is going to last forever. Well, it will increase. I think it will increase people tuning into the Republican National Convention, which is this week in Minneapolis, I believe, and which Donald Trump is going to be there. All of the delegates to this convention, the press, media, and other people that are interested in are going to be tuning in probably more than normal. Yes, yeah, Russell, it is. It was, they had on here, they had a guy with a camera was telling officers, there's a man climbing up that building. There's a man on the roof of the building. He has a gun, blah, blah, blah. And they just didn't, nobody seemed to care. And I think it wasn't that they didn't care. I think that maybe they just felt since they were on the ground and this guy was in the air, that somebody else was going to be covering it. But being a drone person that I am, I still am not understanding why there weren't drones doing surveillance in the air. That could pinpoint what was going on. That's just, there were no drones in the air because several of the people that were there were asked, did you see any drones? And no, there was no drones in the air. Yeah, Butler, Pennsylvania was the location of the event. I think it's about 30 miles north of Philadelphia. Yeah, I understand that, Russell. However, government, Secret Service, different people can fly drones for surveillance. No-fly zones do not affect them. They're able to bypass that. I don't think people should have drones in the air. I agree with that. But as far as special events like that, why they don't have aerial surveillance capabilities. That was my point. You just had a witness there that was pointing him out to police and telling them that he was on the roof with the gun and pointing at him for several minutes and pointing him out to officers on the ground, and nobody responded. And then he says, after a minute, two or three, Says pop, pop, pop. Yeah, Russell, I agree. I'm sure that hopefully they don't whitewash their own internal investigation. But the site supervisor probably at a minimum needs to be schooled on what it means to secure an area and how to best maintain that security of the area. For somebody to crawl up a building with a gun. And, like most organizations, especially governmental organizations or military organizations, it always works from the top down, not the bottom up. So whoever it was large and in charge, calling the shots, he should be investigated first. And what he said or didn't say, or what he told those people how to react and act, what to look for. And when he asked, is the area secure? And whoever was part of that area that wasn't secure, why? A lot of questions, a lot of questions. Secret Service has now put out a claim that it's not true. Nobody asked for additional manpower at that site. But it's been reported that the Trump organization had asked for additional security at their events, and so there it already is going to be a back and forth. Now, like I say, the average Secret Service and paramilitary organization, whether it was the sheriff department, the state police, or whoever, I don't blame them. However, I think that there was a lack of training on the ground level, because when they were pointing out that he was climbing up the building and on top of the building, and the guy on the ground's probably going, what do I do? And they said that according to them, the firing that the sniper did had a 3 or 4 inch variance or grouping. It's like they talk about when you're target practicing, what your grouping is on the target. It's 3 to give it 6 inch. So when that bullet went by him, all it had to be is over about here, and it would have been over. You know. Yep. So many people are telling the news that this is divine intervention, that he's still alive. In Alec Baldwin's case, that was interesting too. Um, on the set of the Rust movie production, his charges for him were he was acquitted with with um, with malice. So um, the judgment to acquit is permanent. He can't not be recharged. But what reason that I got on early today instead of my normal 9 o'clock ish was because of the Trump ordeal overnight. And it started yesterday. He had a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Um, that started right around, well, it was all day, but Trump got there at about 6 o'clock p.m. Got on stage. Just after being on stage, he made a few comments, and the shots rang out, and he grabbed his side of his head and went to the ground. And come to find out that the shooter did kill somebody in the crowd there, wounded another person, but missed the headshot on Trump by just an inch or two. Just went by and nicked his ear. Had he not had his head turned like this, would have been a headshot right there. But he turned his head and the bullet went by like that. Through his that part of his ear. So, trying to figure out what that rumbling noise is. Oh, I think I know. It's the wind on my cameras outside. So I just muted them. Sorry about that, gang. He's pretty obnoxious. The yeah, Justin's either down and out or on his TV. I know Johnny Drone Flyer is on right now, and he's got a full house going. And Captain Joe is over there. So what I'm kind of thinking is maybe we should just shut it down and everybody go over there. I don't know. I got 10 people watching. What do you guys think? You want to stay on and keep rehashing this or talk about this, or should we shut it down for a half hour or so and see and give you guys a chance to go over and catch Johnny Drone Flyer or anybody else you want to go see? Type in the chat what your thoughts are. Yeah, Laura and David have been busy too. I haven't seen them. Well, we dropped down from 10 people to 6 people watching. The well, I think I'm gonna close it down for right now. We'll be back later, either later today or in a little while, depending upon how Johnny Drone Flyers live stream goes. If you want to join Johnny, please do so.